If I could play every game of my career and have it be the end of the game with a game on the line, I would always want the ball in my hands. It was never pressure. Pressure doesn't exist unless you allow it to exist. I thrive for those situations where it's critical and the game's on the line. So situations like that where pressure can become a reality, but only if you lack confidence in your ability to perform and do what you train to do.
They call it the charity stripe, as if points are being given away. A player stands unguarded 15 feet from the basket and tries to convert what should be the easiest of shots. Yet some of basketball's biggest stars consistently struggle from the free throw line. Hall of Fame forward Rick Barry made 90% of his career free throws by shooting underhanded, a technique that he learned from his father.
My dad was a semi-pro player and coach, and he just said, son, I really believe that you could shoot a higher percentage if you'd shoot that way. And I said, Dad, I can't be doing that, because back in those days, that's the way the girls shot on their hand. I said, Dad, it's a sissy shot. Everybody's going to be making fun of me. The first time I went out to shoot when I was in high school, I remember it vividly. And I was shooting, and a guy from the stands was yelling out very loudly, hey, Barry, you big sissy shooting like that. And the guy next to him said it loudly, and I heard him. He said, what are you making fun of him for? He never misses. And I was cool from that point forward. Never thought about it or worried about it again.
After starring at the University of Miami, Rick was drafted second overall by the San Francisco Warriors in 1965.
Actually, I was really very happy when I found out that I was drafted by the Warriors, and this may sound a little silly because the Warriors just finished the worst season in the history of the NBA. They only won 17 out of 80 games.
The Warriors would double their win total the next year with Rick as their star player. He was named Rookie of the Year while averaging nearly 26 points a game in his first season, and instantly became one of the league's best free throw shooters. But despite his success, the underhanded free throw didn't catch on.
It's a dumb shot. There's a reason why only one person did it. You know what I mean? It's like evolution of a game.
I think it's kind of funny, yeah. It's a grandma shot.
And then it looks more funny. It's a old white guy with really small shorts doing it, so.
There it is.
Hey! I haven't shot the ball all the way since I was probably like 5.
I think it's just better for him to shoot like this.
But Rick Barry shot 90%.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Kidding? You gotta be joking, right? You have to be joking. Did I ever airball one? Are you kidding me? I'd probably be dead. I would have slipped my wrist. I missed only one season, and I can assure you there were 9 times I was very upset with myself, because if I miss, it's all on me. I didn't do it properly.
It's ludicrous to shoot less than 80% from the free throw line. Same distance every time, same size ball, same size basket. I mean, nothing changes. So how in the world, when nobody's trying to stop you to do the only thing offensively where you don't have a defender trying to prevent you from doing it, why can't you make 4 out of every 5? It's pathetic, it really is.
Rick became known as much for his abrasive personality as his style of play. After his second year in the NBA, he went to court with the Warriors owner over a contract dispute and eventually left the team for an upstart rival league, the ABA.
Rick, how about it? Decided to play for Oakland.
If I could have everything that I have today, same friends, the family, doing everything, and have done something a little different in my life, it probably would be that I would have stayed in the NBA.
Would you be willing to play for the Warriors if they get this injunction?
Nothing to say about that.
You would play for them, though.
I did not say that. At the present time, I would not.
If I had played that year at the level that I was playing in my first 2 years and put up those kinds of numbers and had continued to play the rest of my career in the NBA, I think my stature in the game would be even greater than what it is, without question.
Rick put up staggering point totals in the ABA and won a championship as a member of the Oakland Oaks, but his reputation had suffered from the move. The media portrayed him as greedy and disloyal, and the shot so closely associated with him seemed to be an outcast as well.
When somebody does something well in the sport or any sport, people tend to to copy it. And that's why it's been astonishing to me that as successful as I was shooting that way during the era when it really wasn't being done, why people didn't copy it. I mean, what difference does it make how you're shooting them? It's the end result that matters, and I can't believe that guys can live with themselves shooting 40s, 50s. I mean, to the point where Andres Biedrins for the Warriors, I mean, there's like 18 or 19%. Are you kidding me? I mean, how do you not try anything to get better?
There was one star who decided to give the underhanded method a try. Notoriously poor free throw shooter Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, I never really got to talk to Wilt about his free throws until after he had been retired, and I just joked with him and I said, you know, you should have come to me. I admire the fact that you tried underhanded at one time. I said, but your technique sucked. Big guys have a tendency to grab the ball, and you know, like in Shaq's case, he had a broken wrist, so he could never get his wrist in the proper position to have good shooting technique. That's why he would have been a prime candidate, because my underhanded, it's just a simple roll of the wrist that would have had no impact on him. He would have been able to do it really well.
Rick Barry hasn't done what I do, so Rick Barry's resume is not good enough to even come into my office to be qualified for a job. He's a Hall of Famer, but he ain't done what I've done, so I'm not listening to that. I will shoot negative 30% before I shoot underhand. I promise you that, for real. So.
Watch how flat it is. He really has trouble.
Dr. Larry Silverberg is a professor of engineering at North Carolina State University, who has studied the physics of the free throw.
We published a paper on the numerical analysis of the free throw, which gave us an ability to actually shoot in simulation millions of shots. Consistency is the key in the underhand versus the overhead, and it's the release speed. If you can impart a release speed with very, very little error, the likelihood of that ball going in goes up significantly. The body motion in the overhead is actually much more complicated than in the underhand. It's more complicated not just because it involves all the limbs of your body, more so, but also because the way they move in sequence, and they're one after the other very, very quickly. The underhand is more of a single motion. Just looking at it, you can see it's simpler and the whole body moves at the same time.
That nice single motion is a little easier to remember and to be consistent on in the underhand. Rick would eventually find his way back to the Warriors, and in 1975, 8 years after he left the team, he would lead them to an NBA championship.
The way we started out is supposed to be also ran, so we battled and scratched and fight our way to become the world champions. It's a fitting climax, I think, for one of the most unique teams in pro basketball history.
Rick's jersey still adorns the walls of the Warriors facility, but finding any modern-day remnants of the underhanded free throw is a different story.
I mean, obviously, it's unorthodox. To see somebody, kind of take it between the legs and flip it up.
Maybe just because it's unorthodox, taught at a young age, to keep that elbow high.
Well, I just think the free throw game has evolved.
You see the highlight clips of him doing that back in the day, and you don't really know what to think about it, because it doesn't seem natural.
I mean, it just looks funny, you know what I'm saying?
I think you'll look more even crazier if you did try it.
If you're shooting below 50% from the free throw line, even 60, why not try it out?
If it would change my shot to 90% shooting, then I would definitely change it up.
About 5%? I'd do it.
That's a tough question, man. Yeah, I'll do it. Man. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I would do everything it takes to get that 90%.
Would you care how it looked?
No, I don't even care about the results.
Not at that point. If you shoot 95%, it doesn't matter how you shoot it.
You know, I could take the heat from my boys for a couple months, but I'll shoot 90% from the line. Why not?
Oh! God. First try. This is where the free throw originates from. You bring it here into your shot.
You want me to shoot one like this next game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not for I will if you want.
What do you shoot percentage-wise?
He said his last year, he said 94.
Something like this? You saying Dwight should shoot like this? There we go. I guess I can give you the trick. Yeah, man, let me get that. Yes.
Yeah.
If I could only finish like that again.
I'm not any big star as far as my children are concerned.
Rick would have 4 sons go on to play basketball professionally, but even they did not end up adopting his trademark shot.
John actually got up into the 90s shooting overhand. They were all very good shooters. And so, and my son Scooter, I always remember, he said, and he could shoot it really well. He said, "Dad, it's hard enough being your son without shooting underhanded free throws." And I said, "Son, that may be correct, but if you could shoot a higher percentage, then you're doing yourself a disservice and your team as well."
I never really chose to shoot the underhanded free throw and try to perfect it because I didn't want to call more attention to being Rick Barry's son and having to live up to those expectations. Now, when you go to shoot, you tilt the ball back a little bit like this, and as you go up to shoot, you just turn your hands over like that. Bend your knees. Good. My father had been an All-American and had led all 3 leagues, NCAA and the NBA and ABA in scoring, and was a 6'8" scoring machine and Rookie of the Year. And so I didn't really have the same abilities that my father had, and that made it a challenge for me to be Rick's son and not live up to the expectation. So being the oldest, I always joke around and say, being the oldest, I tried to lower the bar so that my brothers could all do much better. So it seemed to have worked.
You know, I missed out a lot. Unfortunately, I had gotten a divorce and I wasn't around my children as much as I would have liked to have been around them. And I was busy with myself, playing ball myself and working, and didn't have that luxury. I always try to make it a point to get to see them all the time. Even my son Scooter, who played overseas, I would always try to make a trip overseas to get to see him play. And I've had the luxury with my youngest son, Canyon, of being able to actually see him play.
Rick's 5th son, Canyon, currently plays guard for the College of Charleston, and it turns out the underhanded free throw might not be dead just yet.
The first one is everyone's always kind of surprised. Like, everyone looks around like, "Oh, what? Did I get to shoot underhand? What happened?" Like, everyone around the key's always like, "Whoa, what was that?" So then the second one, they're really like watching it to see like the form and why is he doing it like that. Well, a ref even one time, I shot an underhanded free throw, threw the ball back to me, shot another one, and then I think we were running down the court and a foul got called, and he came up to me, he's like, "Who do you think you are, like Rick Barry's son?" And I was like, "Yeah, I actually am. He's up in the stands."
See how soft that is when he didn't hit the back rim? You hit that back rim too long and you'll get the worst break of any of them.
I get asked a lot about my kids, and people always say, "You must be so proud of them." And I say, "Yeah, I am, but not for the reason you think. I'm not proud of them because they got to play basketball and they were good at basketball. I'm proud of them because they've been good kids and haven't done anything foolish with their lives to get themselves in trouble." As a parent, I mean, my God, you just burst with pride. I mean, I might get emotional about it. I mean, when people talk about your children as being good people, I mean, that is so gratifying and so amazing. It just makes you feel like you've done something special to bring a kid like that into the world.
Rick Barry had one of basketball's most colorful and productive careers. He is in the Hall of Fame and has been voted one of the 50 greatest players of all time. But the image with which he is most closely associated is standing at the charity stripe, tossing the ball at the hoop as only he can.